RCMP has finally confirmed it. The exact minute-by-minute movements of Daniel Martel in the crucial hours before Lilly and Jack Sullivan vanished without a trace. And what they've uncovered is not just unsettling. It's far more disturbing than anyone had dared to imagine. For weeks, the air in this small Nova Scotia community has been thick with speculation. Neighbors whisper behind closed doors. Online forums dissect every possible theory. News crews circle but rarely get answers. And through it all, an eerie, unshakable question hangs in the air. Where are Lilly and Jack? While the public waited in frustration, the RCMP was quietly at work. Behind the scenes, detectives were building a timeline, a precise reconstruction of Daniel Martel's every move in the lead-up to the children's disappearance. They tracked his phone signals, pulled surveillance footage from traffic cams, gas stations, and store parking lots. They spoke to witnesses who hadn't yet gone public. Every breadcrumb mattered. And now, that painstaking work has paid off. We finally know where he was. We know who he interacted with. We know the last place he was seen before everything changed. But with those answers comes an even bigger question. Because somewhere inside that day's events lies a gap, a black hole in time. 45 minutes unaccounted for. 45 minutes that could explain everything. It's a missing window so crucial that investigators believe it could hold the key to this entire case. Whether it reveals a shocking act, a hidden meeting, or the moment the children were taken from the world they knew. And if that gap is ever filled, it could be the moment this mystery finally breaks wide open. According to RCMP records, the last full day began quietly at 6:42 a.m. Daniel Martel's phone pinged off a cell tower near the Sullivan home, a routine signal that showed nothing unusual at first glance. To anyone looking at the data, it was just another ordinary morning in rural Nova Scotia. By 8:17 a.m., he appears on a local convenience store CCTV, stepping inside to pick up coffee. Witnesses who later spoke to police recalled he was alone, moving calmly through the aisles, a dark hoodie pulled up over his head. There was nothing in his demeanor to suggest anything was about to go terribly wrong. Yet these seemingly ordinary movements would later take on a far more sinister significance. 2 hours later, at 10:04 a.m., his vehicle is captured on a traffic camera heading east along Route 316. RCMP confirmed that Martel told investigators he was driving to pick up supplies from a hardware store in the next town. But the footage and subsequent store records show one critical detail. He never arrived. Something or someone had pulled him off his expected route. The next confirmed location occurs at 12:15 p.m., when his phone briefly connects to a cell tower near McPherson's lake. This remote location is just 3 kilometers from a dense, wooded trail that RCMP would later search extensively, using cadaver dogs and forensic teams. The area is isolated, accessible only by a narrow dirt path, and known to locals as the kind of place you simply don't pass through by accident. And then, nothing. From this point forward, there is no phone activity, no calls, no texts, no digital trace to follow. For nearly an hour, Daniel Martel disappears from the map entirely. His movements during this critical window remain a mystery, a void where the answers to Lilly and Jack's disappearance may lie hidden. Around 12:40 p.m., 2 local residents reported something that would later raise serious questions for investigators. Both witnesses told RCMP they saw a man who perfectly matched Daniel Martel's description near the edge of a tree line close to McPherson's lake. On the surface, it might have seemed like a simple sighting. But here's the catch. Martel himself told police that by this time, he was already back at the Sullivan home. His statement and these eyewitness accounts don't line up. There's a contradiction that investigators say can't be ignored. One of the witnesses, a retired park ranger familiar with the area, recalls something even more chilling. According to his statement, he heard the faint sound of children's voices coming from the dense tree line. He couldn't see clearly through the brush, but the sounds were unmistakable, laughter, whispers, and small footsteps moving through the undergrowth. The RCMP has not confirmed the presence of children at that location publicly, but according to sources familiar with the official files, the report is there in black and white. Every detail of this sighting is logged, preserved, and has been used by investigators to piece together the critical moments of that day. The discrepancy raises a haunting question. If Martel was truly back at the Sullivan home, who were these children the witness heard? And could this moment be the point when everything changed, the moment the children vanished into the unknown? During the search near McPherson's lake, investigators uncovered several items that immediately drew their attention. Among these was a small, frayed piece of fabric, a delicate pink that matches the blanket Lilly was known to carry everywhere. While forensic tests are still ongoing, this discovery has investigators asking urgent questions about the movements of Daniel Martel during those critical hours. Why was this remote location never mentioned in his statement? Why did his story omit a place that now appears to be directly connected to the children's disappearance? Even more puzzling is his phone activity, or rather, the lack of it. From 12:15 p.m. to 1:02 p.m., his phone was completely offline. No calls, no messages, no pings. For nearly an hour, Daniel Martel vanished from the digital record entirely, leaving an unexplained void in the timeline at the very moment investigators believe the case may have pivoted. It's a window that could hold the answers, a time where evidence could have been hidden, a meeting could have taken place, or the children could have been moved, possibly forever. Every new piece of information only deepens a mystery, intensifying a question that has haunted this case from the start. What really happened in that missing 45 minutes? From 12:15 p.m. to 1:02 p.m., the timeline goes completely dark. Nothing. No phone activity, no sightings, no receipts, no digital traces of any kind. For nearly 47 minutes, Daniel Martel's movements are a blank space, a void in the story that could hold the key to understanding what happened to Lilly and Jack Sullivan. It's in this gap that theories, some chilling, some almost unimaginable, begin to take shape. The concealment theory. Investigators consider the possibility that during this window, Martel may have hidden evidence or moved the children to another location. A brief period of disappearance like this could allow someone to manipulate the environment, leaving little or no trace behind. The meeting theory. Another line of thought suggests that he may have met with someone else, a person who could be directly involved in the disappearance. This theory raises questions about whether others had knowledge of, or even participated in, the events that led to the children vanishing. The staging theory. Finally, there's a possibility that Martel returned to the Sullivan home to alter the scene, to make it appear as though nothing had happened yet, and delay the moment anyone realized the children were missing. This could explain discrepancies between his statements and witness accounts, and why the evidence found later doesn't fully align with his story. Each theory opens a new layer of possibilities, and a new set of questions. What really happened in those missing 47 minutes? Was it a single act or multiple coordinated actions? Did someone else play a role, or was it all Martel's doing? Until investigators fill this gap, the truth remains tantalizingly out of reach, hanging over the case like a shadow, the darkest and most critical stretch of the timeline. At 1:03 p.m., Daniel Martel's phone suddenly comes back online, this time pinging near the Sullivan home. After nearly an hour of complete disappearance, he is back in the area where the children lived, but exactly what happened during the missing 47 minutes remains unknown. By 1:12 p.m., a neighbor's security camera captures him outside, pacing nervously in the driveway, cigarette in hand. He glances repeatedly toward the road, as if waiting for someone or watching for something. Every movement is tense, measured, yet ordinary at first glance. But in context, these moments are deeply unsettling. By 1:40 p.m., the children's mother, Malia Brooks Murray, is seen leaving the home in a separate vehicle. This brief footage is the last confirmed sighting of anyone associated with the household before the RCMP timeline goes dark again. It's the final piece of verified visual evidence before silence takes over. After this, the chain of events becomes unclear. No cameras, no phone pings, no witness accounts. Just a void in the timeline where answers should be. This silence, combined with the previous gaps and contradictions, has left investigators and the public alike grappling with a haunting question. What truly occurred during those critical hours? We now have a detailed picture of Daniel Martel's final hours before Lilly and Jack Sullivan vanished. Every ping, every sighting, every small movement has been mapped. And yet, despite all this information, the missing 45 minutes continues to loom over the case like a dark shadow. It is the gap where answers might be hidden, the window in which everything could have changed. Investigators have reconstructed so much, but this single stretch of time remains a haunting void. Do you think the RCMP already has enough evidence to charge Daniel Martel? Or are they holding back, meticulously waiting for the final piece of proof to close the loop? The one detail that could finally explain what really happened to those two innocent children? Until that missing 45 minutes is fully accounted for, the truth stays just out of reach, and every new revelation only deepens the mystery.